Hey guys, welcome back. Prakash Nalkar this side again. So this is video 16 of framework development series advanced level, and here I'm going to talk on this video 16 as database validation, which is going to be Threadsafe or synchronized method. How we validate the database part via our Selenium Java test case. Basically, for this DB validation, Selenium is not going to help us, but Java JDBC is going to help us on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see what we spoke till today. So till today we did created a data driven test case for task creation. Okay, and that was the part one. Basically we are yet to finish that, but in between we have one more step called as DB verification. So if I go to my actual test case, you see we did created till here search verify task creation on UI. We did created a task, we did verified it on UI, and now the last step pending, which is verify my DB. Okay, and what kind of DB I'm using? It's my MySQL DB. Okay, so let me start my database, and we will start. Give me a minute. Okay, so I'm just starting my server and database. Okay, and as I said, database what I have is MySQL database. So uh, to work with database connectivity from Java, we have something called as JDBC. Okay, Java database connectivity, that's an API given and which is database specific. Okay, for MySQL we have different jar we need to use. For Oracle, different one. For DB2 we have different jar to use. Okay, so what that mean is, in order to connect from my Java code to actual database, that is in my case it's MySQL database, so we need some API. Okay, that is going to help me, and that API is database specific. So if I look for a JDBC MySQL driver, and I'm looking it for Maven repository. Okay, and here I'll get that SQL connector. So this is something I need to use, MySQL connector for Java. J stands for Java over here. Okay, so yeah, so this is something we are going to use in our Eclipse project, and that is something we are going to import into pom.xml. Okay, so which version I supposed to use? Okay, I think I should be having it in my earlier project. Just give me a minute. Okay, so we have the latest version we used earlier. So this is not covered in the basic framework, but for one of the video I did added that, and here I'm adding that dependency into my pom.xml. Okay, in fact we can borrow the complete code from there itself. Okay, so that it will save my time which I will take for writing the code. I'll just explain the code. Okay, so let me check where that. Okay, that would be under demo. Okay, so here that is. Okay, so I've just copied, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a common method for DB verification. Before I go to that, now my DB must have opened, and here what table I'm going to verify? Task, right? I did created a task. Okay, and here I'm going to verify this task entry, whether whether the task name is demo task, and like whatever field I have in DB, right? So what else we have? Is that the only things we have? Okay, task description created at, like whatever fields we can verify, right? Progress, and also all these things we are going to verify, like whatever possible. Okay, for demo I'm just going to verify a couple of things, but it's up to you, your requirement, what and all things you are going to verify from respective table. So you can combine multiple tables by using joins, and also that is just a tactic how you are going to write the SQL, but overall the process will remains same. Okay, now, so for this particular step, what we are going to do is we are going to create one common method under reusable component as let's say I'll say it as DB operation. db underscore operations. Okay, so that there I can put all my read write operation of the database. Currently I don't have any write operation, that is just going to be read operation, but yeah. Okay, so just let me put it at the correct places. My imports are going to be Java SQL, and I'm using hash map. Why, I will let you know. And let me create one method, and I'm going to put it under the method public void get db get SQL results, get SQL uh, result in map. Okay, because what I'm doing is I'm going to run the SQL, and as a result of SQL I'm going to put the data into hash map, and that particular hash map I'm going to return. Okay, so how, let's see. I'm going to explain this code, just give me a minute, let me complete that. So the return type is going to be hash map, because I am going to make it as a return type as map. Okay, and let this print statement be there for now. Okay, and okay, and this class I should remove, and the method name is get SQL result in map, and SQL query is something which I'm going to pass when I'm going to call the method, right? So I'll say string SQL. Okay, and this SQL I'm going to, like, whatever I have hard coded over here, I'm going to get this SQL when we are going to call this particular method. Okay, give me a minute again. Okay, now how this code works. Okay, before that, one more thing I need to make sure, that is in my description what I said is I should make it as a thread safe, okay, or synchronized, right? So for that I'm going to write some keyword called as synchronized. Okay, now what this keyword synchronized will do. Okay, so there is a concept called as synchronization in Java. Okay, and what is synchronization? Synchronization is the capability to control the access of multiple threads to any shared resource. Now what I mean by shared resource, that is going to be my DB, right? So let's say my 5 test cases are running in parallel. Might be case like a couple of test cases are performing DB validation at the same time, right? So there might be possibilities like this particular hash map might get some data from both the SQLs or something, right? Some mess up might be there, right? So to avoid that mess up, we are going to use a method which is synchronized, right? Because Java synchronization helps you to achieve only single thread at a time for a shared resource, right? And why we use a synchronization, it is mainly used to prevent the thread interference and to prevent consistency problem, right? As I said, if multiple threads are trying to access it at the same time, then there would be a problem. So only one thread should access this particular method at a time. Okay, and that will happen only by use of this keyword called as synchronize. That's it. I don't need to do anything else. So what will happen is, let's say my one of the test case is accessing this particular hash map. So what will happen is, if other thread is trying to access the same method, then that particular call will be on hold until the first operation gets completed. Okay, that's what synchronized means, and that's how synchronized work in Java. Okay, now coming to the code. Here the very first statement, very standard statement, we set where my driver is. So my driver is present into the API what I have added into my pom.xml SQL connector, my SQL connector, and this is the location that could be hard coded, that is going to be same. Now I need to define the connection where my database is. So this is the standard, again this is the standard way of writing the connection okay, where JDBC is very much standard, the API what we are going to use. Then MySQL is the type of database. If you have Oracle, you can put Oracle or thin Oracle, then DB2 if you are using DB2 database. Then we need to specify your server name or IP address, okay, on which server your DB is installed. On which server on which server you can access your DB, and then your database name. Okay, that's it you needed. The rest thing what you see, this UTC time zone, I did added this UTC time zone because on my machine I was getting the error like server time zone is not set. But in your case, if you're working like if you are trying it on any organization DB, then you will not get any error like this because the database time zone will be already set over there. In my case it is not there, so I'm setting it explicitly by using this statement. So in your case you can simply ignore this statement if it works. Then next is, what's the username for accessing the DB, that is root in my case, and what's the password. I don't have any password, so I'm passing it as a blank. Now once the connection object is created, we need to create some statement. That's how this JDBC works. Okay, we need to create a statement, and I stored into a class variable called as statement. On this statement we can execute a SQL. Okay, and this is my SQL, so you can put your SQL over here. Okay, and this SQL is going to be, I'm going to call it from my method. So what I'll do is I will put my SQL over here. So whatever SQL I'll get from my method call, I'll pass it over here. This SQL will get executed via this execute query method, and then the result of this particular SQL is going to get stored into something called as result set object. Okay, so yeah, so you can see what I'm trying to do is now rs.next. So if there are any objects into result set, do the next and then try to access the data out of result set by using res.getString. That's pretty simple. Okay, now in my case you see there are a couple of more lines which might looks complex to you, like result set metadata. So why I am using this result set metadata interface is I want to get the column names as well, because as I said, I am going to return hash map. And how this hash map is going to look, key value pair. For example, if I get this as my search result, then my hash map will have this demo task with the name called as, with the key called as name. If I want to access label ID, then I will pass the key called as task label ID. So I'm trying to get the column name, and against column name I'm going to put the actual value. You see over here in the hash map, I'm trying to get the column name and I'm going to put the actual value against that particular column. That's what I'm doing. And finally I'm going to return a hash map. Okay, so here I should return hash map. Okay, and that's pretty much, and that's okay. What it tells, the hash map is not defined. Let me define it on the top. Okay, should be good now. Okay, and this particular method we are going to call. Okay, and how I'm going to call this method is by creating object of this DB operations. Okay, and I'll say DB okay, again all these objects you can create in your test base or whatever, right? Was one common location what we created in our last framework. You can do that. In my case I have only one class or couple of classes, so I'm not doing that way. So I'll say DB ops is equal to new database operation, and this, let me import because it belongs to different package, reusable component. Okay, now if I say db ops dot, I should get the method called as get SQL result into map, and from here I should pass my SQL. Okay, and now how I'm going to create my SQL over here. Okay, so I should create my SQL, let's say over here. So I'll say string SQL is equal to select okay, give me a minute, I'll write my SQL over here. Okay, so I'm on my task table. Okay, and on my task table what I need to do is select star from task, where Now I need to look for some unique ID. Okay, otherwise if I get multiple result, that I'm going to mess up, right? So I am assuming that this name is going to be unique, for example. Okay, so what I'll say, where name is equal to demo task 1, and if I execute this, it is going to give me the result. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this particular SQL and let me put it over here. Okay, and this is my SQL, and I'm going to supply it as method parameter. Okay, and this SQL is going to return me something called as hash map. Okay, if you hover your mouse on this, get SQL result, it returns me a hash map, right? So I should store it into a hash map object. Hash map of type string, let's say db data is equal to this. Okay, and now whatever verifications you want to perform, now in this hash map I have all the data, right? So I'll say db data dot get, and I can pass my key. Let's say my key is going to be name. Okay, and this will return me a actual task name, right? So I'm going to, let's say, create one variable as called as string task name is equal to this, and then I'm going to assert. So this is just one sample example I'm going to show you, right? So this is specific, like it can be in different ways, project specific. So I'll say assert. So I have created one method called as string assertion, assert equals string, and let's say my expected value is going to be demo and my actual value is going to be task name. So this is going to be fail, I know, right? Because in actual it is demo task 1, but I'm expecting, let's say, it as a demo. Okay, just for failure purpose I want to show you, and I'll say db, this is just for logging purpose, db verification, and the field, and I'll say table is task, and the field is, let's say, name. Okay, you can have any predefined or pre-planned structure, something like this. Okay, I should put something like that also, and that's all. This is going to be here because that's all part of db verification. Okay, now the point is, for this db verification, whatever 4 or 5 lines I have added over here, you can consider writing one method for this common method if you are using it in a multiple test cases. Okay, I mean in the same way, if you are having it in the same way for multiple test cases, consider creating a common method. Great. Now what I'll do is I will execute my test case. I'm expecting a failure because I'm expecting the task name, let's say, as demo, but in actual it is demo task 1. Let's see. Okay, task is created, and okay, it is with the same name basically couple of times, and yeah, I suppose execution is completed. Yeah, and execution is completed, and now if I look for console, it says there is one failure. Okay, and now if I go to my extent report, which is basically a detailed extent report what we create, let me refresh the reports folder. My latest is going to be 310. Okay, and you see I was able to execute all steps except this one, assertion error. Expected is demo task 1, but in actual it is task name. Okay, and that's what I was forcefully I am failing it because I wanted to show you some error like this. And my db class is working. Expected is demo task 1. That means I'm able to retrieve the data correctly from database. Okay, so now the point is, under this db data hash map, you have all the data from this particular table in hash map format, key and value format. But the only point is, you need to make sure that you get only one result. You what you are going to what you're looking for basically. So you need to structure your sql accordingly. Okay, now if I run this sql again, okay, just give me a minute. If I run this sql again, you see I'm getting two objects because my name is same in both the cases. So you need to make sure that you get only one result, or even if you get multiple result, it is going to pick only the top result. So accordingly you can plan. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it for this particular video, where we talked about how you can create a database validation class for Threadsafe DB validation in our Selenium Java test case automation, and how we can integrate that into our test cases. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this video. In next video, what we are going to do is, we are going to make this test case as data driven with the help of data that we have already into the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so in Excel I did create a data already, and we are going to read this particular data, and we are going to make our test case as data driven. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Thank you.